Well, yeah, and I always say everyone's just sort of like their own mad scientist trying to concoct their own potion, trying to figure out what works best for them. But you led me perfectly into, I mean, the number one myth and stereotype that I love to bust on this show. I mean, it's gotten better the last 5 years due to Instagram, but there are still, unfortunately, so many women that have that fear that if they walk into the gym and they pick up one weight, they're, going to put on 50 pounds of muscle. And I know that you didn't have that fear when you were getting started because you said you always had that thing for a muscular physique, but I bet you still hear that all the time. How do you like to respond to that whenever people come up to you with that fear?
Yeah, it takes you one, if you're going to start working with weights, it would take a really long time of really consistent progressive training for a woman to gain amounts of muscle that she would be worried about. And you would also have to be genetically predisposed to gain muscle fairly easily. You have to have, there's so many factors that go into that. It took me a year when I was seriously training and trying to gain some size for competing. It would take me, I could only put on about 5 pounds in a year, sometimes in a year and a half, depending on how far apart my.
And that's really good too, especially for a woman based on all the guests that I've had on. 5 pounds is really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. So it is very hard. You have to really be in a program that is really dedicated to muscle hypertrophy to get something like that. The average woman trying to go in and use weights just for just kind of like reshaping and firming and getting a little bit of muscle definition, not anything crazy and bulky and big, but you can do a lot for your physique by adding a weight routine to your workout for sure.
100%. I mean, it's one of those myths that, I mean, it's been getting better, but unfortunately it still exists. But again, anyone out there, if you do automatically put on all that muscle, again, my number, you can always find me and give me a call. I'm been more than happy to talk to you then. But going off that, I mean, I always say one thing that I think impacts women so much more positively than it does men when it comes to working out is just that confidence boost that it gives you. I mean, on this podcast alone, we've heard stories from hundreds of women that, have been able to make life-changing decisions, or it's helped them be maybe a little more assertive. It just helped them better their own lives. And I always say that is the one thing that you can take from the gym and use to impact every aspect of your life. How have you taken that confidence boost from working out and used it to better your life?
Exactly what you're saying is so true. And I don't know of a person who has got into some kind of structured health and fitness program that can't say the same thing. It empowers you so much to find an area in your life that you actually can take control of, and you have so much power, more than you know, and you learn that along the way as far as what you can do and what you can stick to, and just the act of going through that process and sticking with it. And everybody has their times and their days where they're not so perfect, and that's totally okay, but picking back up with it and carrying on is the most important part. And as you go along, you learn so much about yourself, and it really just does empower you. It made a huge difference for me in just having the confidence. I have 3 daughters, and I think that helped show my daughters that, a healthy lifestyle, also being a competitor, to not be afraid to put yourself out there, and go for what you want, no matter whatever anybody else is thinking about you, no matter the comments that you get. If it's something that you believe in and that you're passionate about, to just go for it. And like I said, you can just learn so much about yourself in the process.